All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm here with my buddy Jake. Look at the freaking size of this guy. I don't know, how do you describe yourself? A power lifter? I mean, this guy is a unit.
Strength athlete.
So we're going to be hitting a back workout and just spamming pull-ups. If you want to get started with calisthenics, pull-ups, basically like where you need to start. If you were to ask me like, how do you get started in calisthenics? Pull-ups would probably be the first thing that I say. So judging by the size of this guy's back, he knows a thing or two.
The style of pull-up that I do too, I come up first with the lats and then I pull my upper back together. And that's how you really like become great at weighted pull-ups is you treat it as two movements. So the explosion of the scapula and then the pull in. So slowly, if I were to demo kind of an advanced technique, bro, it might look like this, right? Like up here and then, into the bar.
Whoa.
Does that make sense? So I'm like here and then into the bar.
Whoa.
And when you have weight on the pull-up, that lockout is gonna be the hardest part. So training that explosively.
I think when I'm doing pull-ups, I am really focused on just pure, just lat engagement. The first thing I'm doing is just engaging like this.
Yeah, pulling the
and
scapula.
That's actually kind of the first step to doing a front lever too, because you're moving your hips this way, and this is really, this is actually how I started training front lever, is doing a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My thing with pull-ups is just trying to have proper form and really getting the chin above the bar and not being herky-jerky. When you're weighted, it's hard not to have kind of a slow drive through the motion, and I think that really helps too. Just straight time under tension and just slow and clean.
Yeah, strict form,
and going all the way down, get your lat fully stretched.
Yeah.
And that's what I love most, is when you have that weight on you and you're fully stretched and you just start that grind motion back up and you can really feel it in your lats. Can you do a muscle up? Can you do a muscle up?
On first try, I'm not sure. I'll give it a go first try.
There it is.
Whoa. Chaining muscle ups together is actually a skill in itself.
How about an L-sit muscle up?
Hell no. Yeah, super clean.
I don't want to burn out on those.
All right. Let's go for the first maybe 5 reps in reserve and just sort of pump them out.
Yeah, I see what you mean about that. Kind of as you go, the motion changes a little bit, huh?
Yeah. Just stuff gets fatigued, and we're gonna do a lot of sets, hopefully. Clean. As like a natural, if you want to get big, the best thing to do is to train compound lifts. And on compound lifts, the best thing to do.
So what's a compound lift, first of all?
So a compound lift is going to be anything where you're using multiple muscle groups. So in a deadlift, you're not just using your back. You're using your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, even your arms, your traps, shoulders, everything's under tension. And you can imagine when you're using, your entire body to lift a weight, you can lift a lot more weight, So the mechanical tension, which people say is a main driver in hypertrophy or changing of the size of a muscle, you can add a lot more mechanical tension in essence, right?
Yeah.
So for a weighted pull-up, that would be considered a compound.
Right.
Because you're using multiple muscle groups. So I prioritize those on my program.
Okay. And what do you think about, the fact that we're out here, we don't have any, weighted element to this. So this is purely a volume game at this point, us out here. So how do you think about that? At your size, can you still train effectively without adding any weight?
Yeah, for sure. Intensity is going to be the most important part of your workout.
Right.
If you want to grow. I train primarily for strength, with the end goal to get big.
Get
stacked.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to do, nice and controlled reps, with one muscle group isolated. I think for me, what a lot of people miss out on is first building that baseline strength.
Mm-hmm.
How much are you squatting? How much are you deadlifting? How much are you bench pressing? Those main barbell movements. So historically, that's how I like, the
fundamentals. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I'm sure I'll talk as you're doing your pull-ups, but
Yeah.
I'm sure a big difference too in you know, calisthenics versus strength training is the diet. You know,
Oh yeah.
I'm looking around and just thinking, yeah, I need to eat everything in sight, but there's a you know, variety of different goals, different amounts of volume that people are going to do in their training.
I think one of the things that's so humbling about like anything fitness related,
Yeah.
and especially calisthenics, is because it's all body weight,
Mhm.
and your mind thinks you can do one thing, your body is only capable of what it's capable of.
Yeah.
So it is very humbling to like be limited to what your body can do, and then use your mind to push your body to get to the point where it can level up. So that's what I would say is like, yeah, it's a volume game, it's a consistency game more than anything.
A lot of the time, I feel like we look at like our body as like, if I just work on my chest or my favorite muscle group, right? A lot of people come into the gym, they work on their favorite muscle group.
Yeah.
But if you go into the gym, you know, and you work on your weakest one, sometimes you're gonna make a lot more progress. And calisthenics is definitely revealing in that fashion, right? So I told Austin, I have something here that typically people use for building their arms. The idea, I guess, is if you can actually feel the weight more and grip it harder, you're gonna get more bicep action.
Okay.
But we're gonna use it more today to build our pull-up. I told Austin in the beginning of the video, when we do pull-ups, the weakest point of the pull-up is actually the hand, you know, and then the forearm and the bicep all the way up. Back being the strongest, so I use a lot of like straps. But today we're gonna attack that weak point, which is our grip. So I'm gonna put these on the bar, sort of from a wide grip. I think would be nice.
Ooh. Yeah, it's hard to grip, huh?
Dude, it's so hard.
All right, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, grip and rip. Wrap your thumb around. Wrap your thumb around the bottom part.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, you gotta grab that thing, man.
Oh, dude.
You gotta grab that.
Oh, man. This is gonna be hard.
There you go.
I have to say, for calisthenics, grip strength is super important. So this is this is very humbling.
Dude, sometimes you're doing forearm work and you know, you're squeezing, that crushing strength.
Yeah.
Other times it might be, you know, like this motion, up. I mean, there's so much shit in your forearm, right? But this one, I mean,
it's definitely a lot of movements that could use a really strong forearm. Plus, if you want to get shredded and you want a really good aesthetic, having amazing forearms is a great thing to have.
Yeah,
right? I'm trying to hit the perfect intersection between calisthenics and meeting my fitness objectives, and at the same time looking amazing and shredded and just having that chiseled physique. And I think I found that perfect intersection, and it's definitely achievable. And yes, the bottom line is it does require a rigorous diet, and it's not easy to do. But
let's talk numbers. What sort of numbers are you eating, I guess?
Yeah, so I'm at the point now where I actually don't count my calories because I consume the same things every day. But what I can tell you is I clocked in at just under 138 pounds this morning. I think it was about 137. And I am probably eating somewhere in the range of 1,700 calories a day, maybe 1,800.
Yeah.
Because I am working out quite a bit and have a lot of physical activity that's burning calories. So I would say probably 1,800 calories a day. And in terms of macros, you know, realistically, I'm probably in the, I would say 20 to 30 grams of carbs a day or lower. Like,
damn!
It is seriously low.
Guys, we're gonna put this in perspective. I'm a little bit heavier than Austin. I weigh like 205 right now. And I eat between 5 to 800 grams of carbs a day. Because you can store, I mean, I want to say almost 300 to 500 grams of carbs in your muscle bellies. And for my purposes, that's great because I'm all about that performance of reps and sets. So if I want to do a lot of volume, I don't have to have a high carb meal. Like I probably had 350 grams of carbs today already, and it's just about noon.
So guys, that shows you just the complete, you know, difference in fitness objectives, like being shredded, calisthenics, like movement, mobility, but also strength. And then you just have just absolute muscle on muscle on muscle right here. Like just getting huge. So case in point, you got to figure out what your goals are first. All right, so what are we doing with these rings? How do we train bicep on these rings?
So start at a point where you're like this, and then can you neutral it? Yeah, so that's all we need. And we're gonna go from here, laying down, and then up with the biceps. Twist at the top. And try not to pull with your back. Try to just really bring the arms.
Right.
I think you can bring your feet a little further this way. Yeah. There you go. Thoughts?
Yeah,
Might
I feel
work.
it. It's hitting.
All
Definitely
right.
hitting. Guys, this is the new age of training, all right? Grabbing dumbbells at the gym is fine and fun, but on a nice day, being out here, training like this with your buddies, let's bring that era back. Oh, I'm definitely feeling that. When I think about training biceps, I'm always just thinking about, like, ideally just isolating the bicep. And so I do a lot of preacher curl would be kind of my first
Yeah.
my first one. There's a seated preacher curl machine, but what I do is
Yeah.
I stand over the seat kind of like this, and I even extend my legs out, and I'm really extended like this, and I bring it down, and I have a full stretch in my bicep, and I lift heavy on that. And if I could do one bicep exercise at the gym, it would be that. But so I never really try these kind of, this is a compound move, like you're saying. This is
Yeah, for
this is a
sure.
compound move with your back and your bicep, and I'm actually really liking it.
I mean, the thing with all these movements is it really matters how consistent you are. You know, so someone doing lengthened partials versus someone doing
Right.
normal, the person who hits the biceps the most is probably going to have the better ones, realistically, just because they're training the muscle.
Yeah.
My approach to training is I'm not really focused too much about the stretch.
Okay.
In terms of,
Interesting.
a lot of people talk about stretch
Yeah,
and
Jeff
contraction.
Nippard's big on the stretch.
Yeah, and
So
people say, oh, the muscle can grow in the strength, the lengthened position. I think realistically, contractile muscle grows when it's contracted. So I
interesting.
get a stretch because you know, it feels good and I like to avoid injury. But I just think no one's growing from doing this. You know,
Yeah, right.
the growth is definitely in the
Right. You
in
got to
that
get the
pull.
hypertrophy, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yo, is this thing rolling?
it is. Oh, hell yeah.
Go get that clip in there, you know.
All right, well, there you have it. I wanted to just include a couple thoughts here toward the end of the video. It was great to catch that lift with Jake. You can kind of see the different methods between just strength training versus calisthenics. I think that was kind of making for an interesting dynamic, and a lot of thoughts exchanged just about optimizing for your particular goal. I really think that's the key, and the key takeaway is find out what your goal is and apply the technique that suits your specific goal. And then I wanted to thank you guys. We hit the 2,000 subscriber mark, but I don't think we're stopping there. In fact, I think we're going to 2,500 very soon and 3,000. I want to just, like, you know, set the bars high, and really I want to foster a community around calisthenics and in beginners in particular. As you guys know, I'm less than 100 days into my journey. In fact, day 100 is coming on Wednesday, so I'm hoping to put something out that's kind of interesting on day 100. And yeah, guys, really appreciate the support and hope that these videos are entertaining and helpful. And please leave comments on what you guys are working on. I respond to every comment as long as it's something constructive. That's all I got to say. See you guys in the next one. Thanks again.